What's up, everybody? Brian Wagner, senior editor of Dragzine here, wandering the pits at National Trail Raceway, and I have found an awesome car that you probably have never heard of, a historic vehicle, the 1967 Camaro, the first one to ever win an NHRA event. We're going to talk to the owners right now. I'm here with Dave and Ben Wenzel, and this is a pretty historic car in the fact that it was the first Camaro to ever win an NHRA national event. But that's just the start of the story for you guys, isn't it? Kind of tell the story before we even got to that point.
Now you can start.
Well, history was having a 55 Chevy, and nobody probably knows at this day that you got an overdrive that had a 410 gear. With all the other ones, if they didn't have overdrive, they come with a 373 gear. So that car made history for me, right for Chevrolet, you know. And it was another guy had one, and we tantalized them Fords all over the area, you know. So it was a fun time, you know.
So it started out with the 55, and you guys started racing. What led to getting this car and like that whole scenario? Because it's been a race car its whole life, hasn't it?
Yes, sir.
So what led to getting this car?
Well, what really happened was we were racing 348 Chevrolet, 60, 61, and then 60. Then we built I mean David, he's the mechanic. I was a parts washer for years, but we built a 62 dual quad 409 horsepower post car, and it was pretty fast back then. But then we built it in 66. And in 66, Chevrolet came out with a 375 horse, 396 Chevelle. And they came to the local track, and they was so much faster than the 409 that through the summer, we borrowed a guy's 62 Chevrolet station wagon and put a single 4-barrel on it, made it a 380 horse, and that's what we went to the U.S. Nationals with in 66. Well, Corvettes beat us up pretty bad. So in 67, my game plan was to buy a new 67 Chevelle 375 horse 396. Well, then in the magazines, the Z28 was new and it just came out, and some friends of ours that were Chevrolet engineers and foremen at Bay City Chevrolet said you should buy this car because it was rated at 290 horse, which was the same motor that was in a 375 horse 327 Corvette, except this had a shorter stroke, made it a 302 cubic inch. So that's what we got, and we battled all summer. He was working on the car, and the record was like 1250, and we was going 1260s until, I gotta back up, every points meet, you had to win class to race in stock eliminator. I won class at every meet going slower than two other cars. So then the week before the U.S. Nationals, made a bunch of changes and went to Indy, first pass 1257, and then they would start tweaking on this and that, and I ended up winning class at 1243, and then I won eliminator, which you could go under your best run in class, and if it was under the record, it was not a record, but that's what I had to run off on, and then I could go a 10th under the dial-in. Was no dial-ins like today. It was automatic up in the tower, and I went 1233, a whole 10th under the existing best run. So that's another thing that was history. I mean, I went exactly a 10th under and won the meet. First car.
First Camaro.
First Camaro to win. Looking back on the whole, looking back at everything now, because you've had this car how many years now?
Well, 57, is
So
it?
57 years. What's it like looking back now and kind of realizing how big of a part of history you guys are.
You see, it never really, I'm not, I can honestly say I'm not a me guy. I did this, I mean, we did it together. It was just racing. It was just drag racing. We never, until 2 years ago, I think it was 2 or 3, I was in Brainerd, Minnesota. He wasn't with me, my wife was. Alan Reinhardt asked me if I was the first one to ever win a national meet, and I says, I guess I was. I didn't really look into it. Stock Eliminator always ran before Super Stock. Had Jenkins ran first, he would have been the first. I ran first, I was the first.
That puts you guys in some pretty rare company if you think about it, that, you know, you beat out someone like the Grump to be the first. And then, you know, as a family, you guys have campaigned this car, and it's been competitive. You know, there's no whiz-bang new technology. You guys have been grinding it out with this car for over 50 years. What's that been like?
It's been tough, and one of the things is we don't always have the latest stuff, but we try to do the best with what we got, and it's been working, you know.
We're old school. I mean, yeah, we got, like I said, we got new stuff in there, but we don't have all the latest and the greatest.
And your resume and your wins and everything else kind of speak towards that. And it's still a stick car. Like, run through the combo that's currently in the car. You know, I know there's certain secrets you got to hold, but, you know, what's currently powering the car front to back?
This is an aftermarket block that was made in Canada, and it's supposedly a better iron. We've run this for years, and it's broke a rod last year, luckily, and it didn't ruin the block, and it's back right now. It just went 1037, which was a good run, you know. It surprised us to go that quick, you know.
And it's still a stick car, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
This 302 is only a stick. You cannot run it with an automatic in-stock eliminator. It is a stick.
That's why it was made with a stick. No automatics in the 302.
So,
yeah.
So it's as legit as it comes to stay within the, what is it, C stock?
Yeah.
Wow. What's the quickest and fastest it's ever been?
I went 27.
Yeah.
1027. Over 128 mile an hour. And that's a pretty good run today. I think the weather's pretty good, you know, comparably. I don't know what was different when it went 27. A whole tenth quicker. A tenth is a ton. But went 126 and a half. That's, I'm pretty happy with that.
Out of a little 302, right?
Yep.
Little 302, good. Well, guys, thank you so much for sharing your story. It's an amazing vehicle, and hopefully you guys pick up a win again very soon.
Well, thank you, and I hope it's this weekend.